It's nice when you get to that place of knowing, and it's not as nice before you get there.
Yes.
And you being there doesn't necessarily make anybody that's listening to you know that. In other words, we talk about that from time to time, that as Esther stands on the stage and allows us to address you, and you're looking at this from your vantage point, as we were discussing with our friend earlier, whatever that vantage point is, Esther could look like someone who's just really sure of what she's talking about and really stubbornly holding to this opinion, and so giving a coherent presentation, which from your point of view could just be another opinion, which you can take or leave, or take some of and leave some of. In other words, we get how that might feel to you. But as we help you to at least entertain the idea that you are more than your physical body and that there's another point of view within you, and we encourage you to do some things like quiet your mind so that you stop your pattern of resistance, like that woman did while she was sleeping. But the problem with letting your resistance rise while you're asleep is it doesn't do anything about what your pattern of thought is when you wake up. Where if while you're meditating you allow your vibration to rise, now when you come out of meditation it's still in that higher perspective, so that then what you attract can be more acknowledged by you. So what we're getting at is, if we can encourage you in a convincing way to set time aside to quiet your mind, and as you quiet your mind you allow your vibration to rise, and then with that higher vibration you begin to receive impulses or thoughts that feel good and compelling, so you follow through on them. You make the phone call that you thought of, or you get up out of your chair and you get in your car and you go to the place that you were inspired to go, and something happens that leads you to something that leads you to something. When you put all of that together, then you have a personal experience where you have deliberately allowed your vibration to rise, and you are seeing immediate benefits of it having risen. It's not just an opinion now, because words don't teach. It's a personal experience. So we're talking a lot these days about you can stumble into a situation where you're having a knee-jerk response to it, but then it's sort of really pretty much too late to do anything about it in that moment, because you've already had your knee-jerk response. You've already got your resistant vibration underway, and it really takes quite a bit of focus to pivot your way out of that. You could do it if it's not a very important thing, but if it's an important thing and you have a knee-jerk response to it, you're probably not going to pivot your way out of it. You're not going to just change the thought or find a thought that feels better because there's enough momentum going in your response. But if you have meditated that day or segment intended that day, we'll talk about that as we're moving forward. In other words, if you have been in a moment where you have identified how good you feel and how blessed you are and how wonderful your world is and how responsive the universe is to you, and now you're allowing the momentum, as you spoke so well, all of that momentum of all that's come before propel you into this next moment in a state of well-being, then you could be of such a sincere and calibrated vibrational point of attraction that you may not even notice the bump in the road. That's how well prepared you are for it. And so some of these things like hypnosis or meditation or segment intending, it is a way of getting out ahead of it. We want everyone to want their inner being to be the influencer of them. A very well-meaning person could guide you into expecting your well-being, and we trust that that's what you're doing for others. And we know it for sure because when you tap into their inner being, then you are making that signal maybe more approachable by them. But we're all talking about the same thing. It is raising vibration. And we don't want to give anybody the impression that they need to go to someone else in order to have their vibration adjusted. That's what humans are doing all over the place all day. You're adjusting your vibrations to each other too much. That's why you're not allowing your natural well-being. And so, it's a wonderful thing when people like you can approach a person and tune in to who they really are and what they really want, not the moment that they're living. Oh, that's such a gift. When you stood before Jesus dripping your illness, he saw not your illness, he knew your wellness. And you could say he hypnotized you into your wellness because he knew your wellness in such a powerful way that there was no equivocation in his vibration. There was no wobble in his vibration because he was in concert with who you really are and what you really want. And that's what really good teachers do for others. You hold the vision of where they want to be and you do not look at where they are. But let's talk about why you might look at where they are, because this is why it is so important for you to do your own practicing of your own tuning, identifying, isolating, and calibrating to your own higher frequency. Let's go back to the example we began with here today. If Esther were standing in that line and she were upset about something or just in a bad mood about something, so that vibration of not being appreciated were active within Esther, then when this woman started complaining, Esther would have been her best friend. Even if she didn't say anything vibrationally, you go girl, you tell them, let them know what they're doing wrong here. And so without even knowing it, you are in essence joining forces either with the cooperative components of your inner being or something else. We like to say, what influence are you under? Are you under the influence of your own source energy?
So when Esther had those couple of thoughts where that could have led her into joining in,
they were so inconsequential in relationship with, in other words, you could not stand and hear that without having a flicker of it in your vibration. But her stability was someplace else. We're asking you to practice your stability so that you can find it easily. There's a phrase that you use in your physicaldom, and it's called giving people the benefit of the doubt. You know the phrase. Well, if you are giving your well-being the benefit of the doubt, if you're giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, if you're giving others the benefit of the doubt, then that means you are always reaching for your and their highest good. The benefit of the doubt, in our verbiage, we would be meaning you are leaving the doubt out. You are looking for the benefit. You are allowing yourself vibrational alignment with wanted, not unwanted. And so it's an interesting thing as you move about this world with others and as you want to assist them in a higher vibration. And your process is a good one. You find vibrational alignment with well-being. You know it unequivocally. You focus upon them with a relentless knowing of their well-being. Did we say to you yet today that one who's connected to your own inner being, to this stream of pure positive energy, is more powerful than millions who are not? When you think about your inner being, who is aware of everything that you've been asking for long before this moment in time, even long before this lifetime in time, there is a powerful point of attraction of well-being on your behalf that if you'll just relax and allow it, well-being will be your constant experience, you see. But as humans, you get so smart about this. You weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, and you try to figure out what everybody else is thinking. And every single time you try to even acknowledge what somebody else thinks about something, you entertain that vibration within you and you introduce a wobble. You just can't think about what you want and think about its absence without introducing some wobble in your vibration, which makes you not a vibrational match to your true power. So we want to introduce into this conversation two phrases, and we want you to feel them deeply, and we want you to recognize the difference between the two. The awesome power of non-resisted thought. Sit with it. The awesome power of non-resisted thought. This is the power, this is the energy that creates worlds, and it is at your fingertips when you have non-resisted thought, when there is no doubt within you, when you know it singularly. Now, we want you to feel this phrase, the awesome pleasure of non-resisted thought, because the pleasure of non-resisted thought is as powerful. But when you're looking for the pleasure of it rather than the power of it, when you say the awesome power of non-resistant thought, it's like, I've hooked in and now I'll fix that. Oh, now you're focused on that. You're not powerful. See what we're getting at? But if you are reaching for the awesome pleasure of non-resistant thought, now your vibration remains clean. So you know about meditation. We'll talk more about it if you want to know more about it as we move forward. Powerful way to connect to all of this, but a way to get out ahead of it, a way to prepare yourself so that the bumps don't bother you. And sometimes you worry, well, Abraham, I don't want you to prepare me so that the bumps don't bother me. I want the awesome power of non-resistant thought so I can get rid of the damn bumps. We say, we know you do, and we want those bumps to disappear for you too. But we want you to take pleasure in where you are anyway, and then things just start smoothing out for you. So, the awesome power of non-resistant thought. So, getting out ahead of it. A very powerful way of getting out ahead of it before you walk into a segment is to stop for a moment and identify that you're about to enter a new segment. A new segment means different people are going to enter your life, or you're going to go into a different space. When you get in your car, it's a new segment. When you leave the kitchen and go into the living room, it's a new segment. When you get ready, Esther identifies about 30 segments a day that are different one from the last. Sometimes she's editing a recording. Sometimes she's working on an album cover. Sometimes she's receiving book dictation. Sometimes she's going to dinner with a friend. In other words, lots of different segments. So she'll sit recognizing that she's about to move into a segment, and she will isolate her feeling of well-being right here and now about that segment. In other words, sort of getting out ahead of it, thinking about the pleasure of that segment. But what's happening is she is bringing herself into a solid vibration of well-being before she enters that segment. And then it is amazing to see how well that next segment treats her, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. So she was telling someone the other day that she now understands a distinction in segment intending that she didn't understand before. Segment intending, we've been talking about it from the very beginning. Jerry said, Abraham, can you tell us the basics of what you are here to teach us? And we said, the law of attraction, first and foremost. The law of deliberate creation, not really a law, it's just a process. But we called it a law because we wanted to get their attention. And the art of allowing, the law of allowing, but it's really an art. It's the art of understanding all of this. We've talked about that already here today. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And 4 was segment intending. 4 was being aware in this segment of what your point of attraction is. So Esther is telling a friend, I now understand something in a way I had not understood it before. Because I used to think that segment intending was me looking forward into the segment and making a sort of statement of powerful intention to the universe. From that segment, I want these things. I want a smooth road, and I want nice drivers, and I want safe transfer, which those are things that we were guiding Esther to want. But she was not quite understanding the vibrational stance with which she was moving into the segment. And she said, now I understand. She said, I feel more like what I'm doing as I'm doing my segment intending about what's coming next, is I'm putting myself into a vibrational capsule of attraction. And me in my capsule of attracting of well-being is now moving into the world where only what matches who I am can come to me from the segment. In other words, I'm not making all the drivers be nice because some of them don't want to be, and I don't get to be the boss of them. And I don't get to make everybody behave the way I think I would like them to behave. What I'm doing is identifying my point of attraction so that only those that match me come to me. Now, here's the thing, friends. Only those that match you are coming to you. So those ornery ones, you deserve. You're a vibrational match to them. So this is why you want to start doing your best to offer your vibration deliberately. That's what we mean by getting out ahead of it. And that's what we're hearing from you about.